In today's video, soldiers of the Empire challenge an army of plague demons as we play a kitchen table sized game of Age of Fantasy Regiments from one-page rules. Well, hi folks, Happy New Year and welcome to the Old Hammered YouTube channel. I'm Lee, your host. I'm here with Lynn, your other host.
Hello.
And we're going to play our first battle report of the new year, so it's very exciting.
It is very exciting.
So today we're playing another game of Age of Fantasy Regiments from one-page rules. This is kind of their rank and flank type game. However, because our 3x3 mat is a little smaller than what they normally recommend, we are going to be playing the kitchen table version of this game, which means that ranges and movement distances and things like that will be cut by about 50%, and half of our units, half of our army, will be held in reserve. So half of it will be deployed at the beginning of the game, and the rest of the units will sort of march onto the table in subsequent turns as we need them. So this is going to be a pretty standard 3-objective game. So we have some sort of a Colossus head here with an axe in it. We have a watchtower, and we have our handy-dandy turn counter, which will count as an objective as well. So whichever team controls the most objectives at the end of turn 4 is going to be the winner. And we have two very different type armies who are going to be competing for those objectives. So I will be playing the Forces of Mankind today, basically the Empire Force. So here we have a unit of Knightly Knights. Back here we have some Hunters. They have Scout. Here is a unit of Riflemen, a unit of regular infantry, a unit of Great Swords. And this Expeditionary Force is led by the famous Professor Jürgen Hammerstein, who is an engineer by trade, and his specialty is artillery. So he is embedded with this unit that has the Great Cannon. Normally cannons and catapults and things like that can't move. They're kind of in a fixed position. But because Jürgen here, Professor Jürgen Hammerstein, is an artillerist and a famous engineer, he's going to be able to move his cannon 6 inches per turn or give it a firing bonus. So he's embedded with the cannon along with his firing crew.
It's a very shooty army.
It's a very shooty army. And then we have the forces of Nurgle over here, the plague demons. And they have fewer units overall and fewer individual soldiers, but the ones they do have are pretty tough and expensive. And most of these guys have regeneration. So even if a wound gets past their armor, they have an additional opportunity to try and shake it off, which is really frustrating. So that's what I'm going to be dealing with as I try to deploy the Forces of Mankind against the Scourge of Pestilence. Here's some Nurglings down here. These are a swarm. Here's some plague demons. Here's 2 units of Chaos Warriors, and then, of course, the Harbinger of Plague, which is, I guess, the equivalent of a Great Unclean One in Realm of Chaos. Okay, let's get this show on the road. We're going to take a moment to pre-deploy our forces. Some will deploy normally, some will deploy with Scout, and some, like most of these demons here, will deploy with Ambush, which means they'll be able to pop into very inconvenient spots on the battlefield and basically make the human's life miserable. Okay, so half of our forces have been deployed. As you can see, the plague demons are being cagey. They have 2 units of Chaos Warriors that have deployed. These are their plague warriors. But no demons are to be found because they can ambush later. So they're going to hold back and try to cause some mischief here in subsequent turns. And because of that, I've had to make some questionable choices. So I have my cannon right here, which needs a clear field of fire. I can't shoot if this darn watchtower is in the way. So I have my Knightly Knights over here, my cannon and my leader right here, and then I planted my elite swordsmen, my great swords, over here in the muck, in the bog, which is difficult terrain, which is going to slow them down quite a bit. But what I don't want to have happen, see, is I don't want a bunch of Nurglings to pop in here because they are not bothered by the muck. They can ignore it, and we don't want them to jump in here and then basically swarm the cannon. So these poor elite swordsmen, these elite fighters are in the muck. But what can I say? Sometimes you have to make tough decisions. So I won initiative, so I'm moving first this turn, but in subsequent turns what's going to happen is the player who finishes activating first will then activate first on the turn after that. So because Lynn has fewer units, 5 to my 6, she will probably be leading off each turn until we start getting whittled down. So for now, I am moving first. I have a unit of knights here, and because they're fast, they can actually move 8. Where if they're regular foot soldiers, they'd only be moving 6. But they're going to go ahead and rush 8. So they're going to move up kind of like that. And 2 more, and that puts them right about there. All right, Lynn, who's moving on the Plague Demon side?
The Plague Warriors are going to rush up 6.
Yeah, in a normal game on a larger mat, they would be able to rush 12 inches, but because we're on a smaller mat, they're rushing 6. So they have rushed up. To seize an objective, you need to get within 2 inches of it. Normally it's 3 in a regular game, but it's 2 in this game. So then it's yours, basically, and it'll still be yours even if you move away, at least until an enemy unit gets within 2 inches, and then it becomes the enemy's. If there's 2 opposing forces, each within 2 inches of an objective, then it is neutral, and nobody gets it. And if a unit is wavering, it cannot hold an objective or prevent someone else from seizing it. So a mistake I made in our practice turns was I didn't move my cannon up, and so I was kind of hanging back, and you forget how short the firing distance is under these rules. So I'm going to go ahead and move the cannon up. Normally a cannon is a fixed artillery piece, but because I have an engineer leading my army, he can move it up to 6. And the crew wheels it forward like so. So the cannon rolls forward. So, Lynn, I assume you're moving your other unit of Chaos Warriors?
So my Plague Warriors are going to move up, but not get into range of the cannon.
Okay.
So they're only going to move up 4.
All right.
Because the range on the cannon is 15, right?
Yes, the cannon has a range of 15 in this version of the game, though if it's firing beyond 12 inches, it gets an additional -1. That's one of the special rules.
So your elite swordsmen are left.
Right. Just my elite swordsmen in the bog. They're complaining because their fancy boots are all muddy now. So they're going to move their 3.
And that is the end of turn 1.
Yeah, turn 1 just flew by, and we have half our army still off the board, and we have to accomplish everything we need to accomplish in 3 more turns. So let's see what happens. So now on the top of turn 2, Lynn will get to activate first because she finished activating first in turn 1. But before we do that, we both have to deploy some units. Or not.
Or not.
So do you have anybody you wish to deploy? I have a scouting unit, and you have an ambush unit. Actually, you have 3 units that can ambush, right? Your Plague Demons, your Nurglings, and your big Harbinger of Plague.
My Plague Demons are going to hop on the board.
Okay, so they can't be within 6 inches of an enemy unit. So they are going to pop in right there by that objective. So the Plague Demons have warped in and are trying to seize this objective. And if no one contests it by the end of this turn, they will have seized it. And they still get to activate this turn, which is special.
So did you want to drop in any of yours?
I think I'm going to move in my scouts. Those are my hunters. So my scouts are going to deploy here, and then they can move up a little bit more because they're scouting. All right, so the hunters are on the hunt. So next, Lynn is warping in her Nurglings. So the Nurglings have popped in here behind the lines of the Empire forces. And next, I'm going to do a regular deployment of these Fusiliers here, these riflemen. And we're going to put them about 7 inches from those pesky Nurglings. And finally, you have your Harbinger of Plague right here. And he's kind of warped in to try to flank the Knights, it looks like. Or they really want this objective on this side. So it looks like it's kind of a sacrifice play. You lured us in with your Chaos Warriors in the center, and all the demons popped up on the flank. Poor Chaos Warriors, used for cannon fodder. And I guess my regular infantry unit will deploy right here, kind of behind the cannon. I'm not sure what good they're going to be, but at least they're on the board. Okay, so everyone has deployed, and now we go into turn 2. And Lynn, you get to move first because you finished your activations first in turn 1. Okay, what do you think you're going to do here?
The Plague Warriors are going to slide over 2 inches.
They're going to slide on over. Okay, so for my first activation of the round, I have a unit of marksmen right here. We're going to shoot at these Nurglings. So the Nurglings are a swarm, and each stand has a toughness of 3. So their hit points are kind of spread across the various stands. But we will take our best shot and see if we can thin them out a little bit. Okay, so the marksmen, I have 9 rifles, AP1, and 1 sniper, AP1. And the sniper hits on a 2+, and the marksman hit on a 5+. So that's a total of 10 attacks. The black die is going to be the sniper, so he hits on a 2+. So, sniper hits, so 5+. I did get 4 hits out of that deal. Nurglings have a defense of 6, so they're not particularly resilient, but there's a lot of them, so they're hard to kill. So, I got 4 hits, AP1, so you need to get 6s to block. And
none.
Didn't block any, so you take 4 hits.
So one of them's gone, right?
Yeah.
And one of them's down to 2.
And one is down to 2 wounds. Poor little vermin. I guess the way to exterminate them is lead shot. So who's moving on the Plague Bearer side?
So the Nurglings are going to rush up behind the Cavaliers.
Okay. They move their 6. All right, let's see, what can we do here? I think the Hunters are going to hold and pivot and shoot at the Nurglings. So the Hunters hit on a 5+, there's 5 of them, but Lynn forgot that her Nurglings have regeneration. She was very sad about the demise of her Nurglings, and now they get a chance to recover on a 5+.
Nope.
Any 5s? Nope.
Nope.
Still,
it was worth a shot.
worth a shot. Okay. Hunters are firing, and they got 2 hits. 2 hits with just regular arrows. So, Nurglings are defending. They blocked 1.
And now I get to try for regeneration on the other one.
Okay, so they blocked 1, but failed their regeneration attempt, so they take 1 wound. So the Nurglings are down to 4. That's less than half strength, so they need to roll a morale test to see if they are wavering.
So they need to roll a 6+. So they didn't get it, so they are wavering.
They're wavering. Okay, so the Nurglings are wavering, which means they only hit on an unmodified roll of 6 in melee, which is no big deal because that's their quality anyway.
Yeah.
When a wavering unit is activated, it must spend its activation being idle, though it may pivot up to 90 degrees, and at the end of the activation, it stops being wavering. So next turn, they're going to have to just kind of rest and become unwavered.
So my Plague Warriors are going to move up 6 inches.
Moving toward that objective, otherwise known as our turn marker. So on the Empire's turn, I think the cannon here is going to pivot slightly and shoot at the Plague Warriors. So the cannon has a range of 15. The Gatling rifle has a range of 9, so not quite, really. Kind of out of range of the Gatling rifle. So just the cannon, and because it's not over 12 inches, then there's no -1 on the shooting. Cannon has a quality of 5+. It has 2 shots, and each shot has blast. It's kind of an all-or-nothing situation. If you get a couple of 5+, you're in good shape, and if you don't, then you get nothing. 6 and a 5. Okay, so the cannon shot the Plague Warriors. I got 2 hits. Each had blast, so that normally would be 6 hits, but you can only basically inflict 1 hit per model, so that's actually 5 hits on the Plague Warriors. So they have a defense of 3+.
3+.
AP1.
So 4+.
4+.
Nothing.
Didn't defend any, but you still have regeneration on a 5+.
Regenerated 2.
Regenerated 2, so you took 3 casualties.
So they have to roll for morale.
And their quality is 3+?
3+. And they're fine.
They're fine. They're not even wavering.
Okay, so my Plague Demons are just going to hold, because I think they're within range to hold that.
So they're within 2 inches of the objective, so they can hold that.
So we're just going to hold that objective.
All right. Securely. I don't think anybody's going to basically contest you for that. Now that the demons have landed, and I know where everyone is, I think I'm going to try to get these great swords out of the swamp. So they can move 3. They're going to kind of slog this way. So they moved.
I'm going to move the Plague Warriors up 3, just to keep them out of range of the Cavaliers.
And speaking of the Nightly Knights, I guess we should try to get them into the fray here because they need to earn their pay. So we're going to have them pivot 90 degrees and charge. They get 1 free hit for charging, and then 5 attacks on a quality of 4+, but no AP or anything. This is going to be kind of fun on the attack, and not so fun when we're receiving the counterattack. So, total of 3 hits. Now, the problem here is there's no AP on any of that, and your Harbinger of Plague has a defense of 2+.
Yep.
Plus regeneration. Okay, so he blocks all 3.
And he will attack back.
And he's going to attack back. You really need a high AP weapon to attack the Harbinger of Plague.
And he gets 6 attacks with the sword, and it has rending and poison.
Okay.
So any 6s are not nice.
So right in there. Okay, what's going on here is we have 4 regular hits. Then this 6 has rending and poison. So the poison means that's actually 3 hits. So that makes this 6 regular hits and 1 hit with rending, which is AP4. So the knights defend on a 4+ normally, but they're going to need a 6 for the rending hit. So they block 2, but they take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits, and so the knights are wiped out to a man by 1 sweep of the plague sword, and so that is the end of them. You guys did not live up to expectations.
But now he's fatigued.
And now he's fatigued. Well, he killed a lot of knights. That'll tire you out. So the somewhat fatigued Harbinger of Plague, who just slaughtered a bunch of knights, is now going to move.
He's going to move his 6.
Move his 6. Because the plague demons here are firmly in control of this objective.
Yep.
All right. Do I have anybody left to move? All right. So the final unit I have to activate are my lowly infantry guys. And I guess they better move up because we're heading into turn 3 here in a second. I was too busy blowing things up with my cannon to worry about objectives. So I guess they'll move up here.
And that is the end of turn 2.
That's the end of turn 2. Let's take stock of where we are. So here's where we're at. So the demons kind of warped in on the flank of the Empire army, which caused a lot of disruption. And so now these missile troops kind of had to wheel this way and shoot at the Nurglings. The knights attacked the Harbinger of Plague and were wiped out for their trouble. But fortunately, the cannon crew got a lucky shot on the unit of Chaos Warriors and killed 3 of them, which is kind of the only bright spot on the Empire side for the moment, outside of squashing a few Nurglings.
A lot of Nurglings.
Well, there are a lot of Nurglings, and you can just make more. I think every time this guy sneezes, he makes more Nurglings. So heading into turn 3, the demons control 2 objectives, and the Empire have none. So we better get our act together here quickly. Okay, heading into turn 3, what are the plague demons gonna do? Your plague demons here have seized this objective, and even if they leave, they'll still have seized it as long as nobody else moves in to seize it themselves. So what are you going to do here?
I think they're going to try to get into the fray. I don't know if they can, but they will see.
Okay. So they're going to pivot first, swing over the head there, which you can do. You can ignore terrain when you pivot. So they pivoted.
And now they're going to move 3.
So after making their mark on this objective, they pivot away and start marching toward the center of the board. The Empire's lines are a mess. They're all over the place. So I think the cannon here is going to move up and see if we can blast those Chaos Warriors to smithereens. So the cannon is shooting. It has 2 shots with blast, and the professor is shooting with his Gatling rifle, and he has 3 shots with AP1. This dragon here is a 6, so that's 1 hit with the cannon and 1 hit from the Gatling rifle. So there's no AP on the cannon, but it did do 3 hits, which is reduced to 2 hits because there's only 2 models left from the defender, and AP1 on the 1 hit from the Gatling rifle. So you're rolling 3 defense dice. The Gatling rifle has AP1, and then you get a chance to regenerate if you miss any of these. So that's a 6, so the Gatling rifle missed. That's a 3, so that blocks one of the cannon blast effects. But you did miss 1 shot from the cannon, though you do get to regenerate from it, or try to.
Nope.
and do not. So one Chaos Warrior is killed. It takes a lot of technology to kill one Chaos Warrior. And now you need to roll morale, but your quality is 3+.
No.
1, so he's wavering. Okay, so one Chaos Warrior is killed, and the one that remains is wavering. And who wouldn't if he got shot with a cannonball?
And a Gatling gun.
He doesn't even know what that is. He's more used to arcane magics, not this vile technology. So who's activating on the plague side?
He may as well activate an unwaver.
So for his activation, the Chaos Warrior is going to stand pat and become
Unwavered.
Unwavered. So for my activation, these great swords here who are still in the bog can only move 3. So they're going to move 3. Pivot slightly while they do it, about like that. It's already turn 3. So the Nurglings are going to pivot, rally their courage, and become unwavered. So I think these hunters here are going to pivot, move up, and shoot at the plague demons over here, which seems like a foolish endeavor, but what the heck. So the hunters get 5 shots, no AP or anything, shooting 5 arrows on a 5+. 1 hit, 1 lowly hit on the plague demons.
All right.
So you get a block roll.
On a 4+.
On a 4+.
No.
You did not do it, but you get the chance to regenerate. And
No.
you don't do that either. Wow, they took 1 out. So if that had been melee, if they'd had killed a demon in melee, then the demons would have had to take a morale test. But because they just got shot and they're still above half their starting value, then they're fine. They don't need to take a morale check to see if they're wavering. So that was the hunters. They're kind of proud of that.
But now they're going to get eaten. I'm surprised they didn't see the big plague demon there.
Oh, they saw him.
They just have no fear.
No, they were expendable.
Okay.
All right, so you've charged in. Then you need to kind of shuffle. You need to sort of level out. All right, so the Harbinger of Plague is attacking with his great plague sword, which has poison and rending, and he gets 6 attacks with a quality of 2+. So this does not bode well for the brave little hunters. So let's see what he does here.
4 hits.
4 hits, no 6s, which is a saving grace. And no AP on the plague sword. Oddly enough, you have to have a 6 to make use of that poison and that rending. But still, 4 hits defending on a 5+. And I blocked 1. So 3 archers are killed. So 3 hunters are chopped down. They will definitely need to make a morale check when the time comes. I think they're going to lose this combat by more than a bit. But they get to attack back. So 2 hunters are attacking the great Harbinger of Plague. And got 2 hits on him. He defends on a 2+, plus regeneration. Blocks both of them with ease. He won combat by 4 because he caused 3 casualties and he's got 1 full rank and they don't have any full ranks. So they need to make a morale check. 5, they make it, oddly enough. So the Harbinger backs up. So the wall of archers held off the Harbinger of Plague. Any comment? Any comment from the Plague side about that?
They have no sanity.
Shall we toast a frothy beverage to the bravery of the brave little archers? Those archers are okay in my book. They held the line. Okay, so let's see. I got 2 units left. I have the riflemen here and the regular infantry here. These infantry are going to rush up 6 inches toward the watchtower. Okay, the infantry have moved up somewhat. So your final unit to move is this unit of Chaos Warriors, and they're going to seize that objective, I take it. Okay, so currently the Plague Demons have seized all 3 objectives, and the Empire have none. And I think I have 1 more unit to activate, and that is these riflemen who are going to pivot and shoot at the Nurglings. Shoot some smelly Nurglings just out of spite. You may have our objectives, but we're going to stomp on your Nurglings.
That's very rude.
So the marksmen shoot on a 5+, except for the sniper who shoots on a 2+. Shooting some Nurglings. Quality of 5+, and 1 hit from the marksman. Even the sniper missed.
6+ though.
To defend, and they don't.
5+ for regeneration.
5+ for regeneration.
No.
One more stand of Nurglings is gone.
So now I gotta roll for morale.
No! The Nurglings failed their morale check, and so they are wavering. Under a hail of musket shot, they are wavering.
Okay, turn 4.
Turn 4, last call. Anyway, this is kind of the state of the Empire army. We're kind of scattered all over the place, but maybe we can contest a few objectives here in turn 4. But it is now Lynn's turn. The Plague Demons lead off the turn, and what do you think you're going to do? So Lynn is trying to figure out her next move, and she's kind of flummoxed because these stupid archers didn't die, and they have the rest of her army kind of bottled up, and nobody can be within 1 inch of somebody else. So the Harbinger, out of frustration, is just going to stomp on the hunters who are thwarting his plans for world domination. So the Harbinger is attacking with his big plague sword, and if he gets any 6s, there's poison and rending involved. Oh, you got to roll 1 more that you forgot about, and that gives you your rending and your poison. So it's 5 hits, plus 2 more hits for poison, so that's 7, plus 1 with rending. So depending on a 5+, and I need a 6 for the rending. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits off the poor little hunters, and so they are eliminated. They go off to the happy hunting grounds. But they did take out a demon in the mortal realm, so perhaps that's worth something. Then the unit may either pivot by up to 180 degrees or move by up to 2 inches in any direction. So the Harbinger does a pivot, and that is his activation, I guess. Okay, this may be a fool's errand, but these riflemen are going to pivot. They're going to turn their attention away from the Nurglings and shoot at the Harbinger of Plague.
Well, you got 10 shots, plus 1's a sniper, so.
That's right. So 10 shots, mostly on a 5+, but the sniper gets a 2+. So 3, 4 hits on the Harbinger of Plague. Those are all AP1, which is slightly better, but your defense is still going to be a 3+ even with that.
Yep.
And you block them all. They stick in your blubbery hide, but there's no damage.
They just go through the ooze.
So my rifleman activated. Now you have some demons, some Nurglings, a Chaos Warrior over there, and some more Chaos Warriors here. So your demons are pivoting and charging. Is that what's going on?
Yep.
So they're going to try to block these infantry guys from contesting this objective here.
And the Plague Demons have poison, so any 6s count as 3 hits.
Of course they do.
Lots of 6s, please.
All right.
No. 1 measly hit.
1 measly hit from the Plague Demons. So these guys defend on a 5+. And they don't. So 1 guy dies. So the infantry are going to fight back. So the infantry attack on a 5+. Fortunately, there is 9 of them, so maybe they have a chance. What do the demons defend on?
4+.
4+.
Ooh.
So 2 hits from the infantry.
And they do have regeneration, so.
Yes, those demons, those regenerating demons. So 1 hit went through.
Yep. But I regenerated it.
So even though the demons killed a member of the infantry have 1 full rank and the demons have no full ranks. Because they lost one earlier, a hunter killed a demon, strangely enough, and so it is a tie. So nobody needs to make a morale check, and you just back up 1 inch, or as far as you can go, I guess. So you back up.
Okay, now we're both fatigued.
Now everyone's fatigued. So I was kind of counting on these infantry here to contest the objective on the watchtower, but that ain't happening right now. So my options are a little limited. I could try to have the cannon kind of maneuver over here and try to contest that objective, but I think the more fun thing to do would be to try to obliterate this Chaos Warrior here. So we're going to do that. We're going to shoot Okay, since I'm shooting from a fixed position, the professor can give me a +2 on my cannon shooting rolls. Plus, he is shooting with his Gatling rifle. So let's see what happens here. So the Gatling rifle got 2 hits at AP1, and the cannon got 2 hits because of the +2. Unfortunately, blast can only do 1 point per model, so each blast only does 1 point on this guy, so that is a total of 4 hits. AP1, so you're defending on a 4+. And,
oh, I need one more.
yeah. You blocked 2 so far. So, you blocked 2. Now you get to try to regenerate. And took 1 hit, so the final Chaos Warrior is killed.
That was close, though.
That was pretty close. Took a lot of cannon fire to take him out.
And your bonus. If you wouldn't have had your bonus, it wouldn't have done it.
Nope, that's right. So that is the Great Cannon. That's very satisfying. So now the Plague Demons get to activate. Are you going to try to move your Nurglings or your Chaos Warriors?
Well, I can't move the Nurglings. I can only unwaver them.
Okay.
So I will unwaver them.
Okay, the Nurglings become unwavered. And the Swordsmen are going to shake the muck off their boots and capture this hard-fought objective after the cannon has kind of cleared the way here. So we got 1 objective, boys. And then finally, the last unit of Plague Bearers to activate. There's this unit of Chaos Warriors.
Going to pivot.
Pivot.
And move forward.
All right.
Just a little bit.
And finally, the last move of the game, and it may not amount to much, but we'll give it a whirl anyway, is these infantry are going to charge into the Chaos Demons, the Plague Demons, and they're fatigued, so they only hit on a 6, but let's see what they can do. There's 9 of them. Hitting on a 6, that is 1 hit, and the demons get to try to block it and then try to regenerate.
Nope.
They do not block it. Do they regenerate?
Nope.
No, a demon is killed. That is a moral victory, but are the demons going to fight back?
Of course.
Of course.
Why not?
Hitting on a 6.
No.
They do not hit. So they need to roll morale because they lost combat. But their courage holds, and so they're fine. So the infantry back up an inch, and that is the game. So let's see where we're at. So the demon strategy of kind of warping in on this side of the battlefield worked out pretty well. So they claimed this stone head here with an X in it, and then just left it alone, and no one else has disturbed it since. Then they fought for the watchtower, and they claimed that. And all it cost them was a couple of demons and some Nurglings, which are easily replaced. Here on the other side of the board, the swordsmen have finally claimed a single objective for the Empire, though the leader, the professor, and his great cannon did have good fun blasting away a unit of Chaos Warriors.
It took him a while.
It took him a while, but he really enjoys the smoke and the fire and the cannonballs whizzing through the air, though ultimately it wasn't really a great strategy for taking and holding objectives. So ultimate victory goes to the Plague Demons and their entourage. And the Nightly Knights were pretty much useless as usual, and as Lynn pointed out, the hunters did better. The lowly hunters came in from the forest, shot down a demon, boxed in the Harbinger of Doom. So yeah, they did their bit, and the knights, not so much. All right, folks, that is a wrap on our latest game of Age of Fantasy Regiments from One Page Rules. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back soon with some more tabletop wargaming madness. But until then, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time.